Good afternoon, Mr. Recchi. I appreciate you calling me. I know that I wish we could do this in the office in person, but with this pandemic going on, this is kind of the new norm, electronic. So I appreciate you getting everything set up. I'm glad to have you in. I'm Attorney Easter. I'll be your representation. What brings you in today?
Well, I got a bit of a problem. I am facing a couple of charges that I'd like you to take a look at and hopefully work some magic on and expel them from my record. It's not looking too good right now, sir. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I completely understand where you're coming from. I know, with crimes like what you have or any charges that you're facing, it's a tough time. It's an anxiety-inducing time. So I'm gonna try to do my best through the powers that I have as your representation to help you get through this and to minimize, I guess, the damage, so to speak. So before we get into what happened and what you're charged with, I was hoping to get some personal information from you. Basically, all this information is confidential between me and you through the attorney-client privilege. So nobody can use any of this outside of what we're speaking right now. So I hope that's okay with you. If you want to start, tell me your full name.
Sterling Retke.
Sterling Recchi. And how old are you?
I am 30 years old.
30 years old. And where are you from?
I am from Wisconsin.
Nice. Whereabouts?
In Wisconsin, when you say you're from Wisconsin, you're from Wisconsin. Green Bay area, Lambeau Rays, Cheesehead.
Yeah. No, I understand. So I'll put Green Bay. And then what is your birth date?
My birth date is April 12th.
Perfect.
April 12th, 1990.
1990. Got it. And are you currently still in Green Bay?
Yes.
Perfect. And what do you do for a living?
I am a sales engineer, and my job requires quite a bit of travel,
Okay.
which is why I need this figured out so hastily.
Yeah, I can imagine. What's your marital status right now?
I'm married to a beautiful woman by the name of Sarah.
Fantastic. Sarah's a lucky woman. 28.
Yeah, we have two kids too. If you wanted to know, little Frankie, he's 11, and little Smitty, he's 17. He's about to be a high school senior. Sadly, we don't know if he's going to be in school next year because of this pandemic. But
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
Does he play any sports? I know the sports season's affected by all this.
He doesn't play any sports with the school, but he does play recreational badminton and some table tennis. It's pretty good.
The indoor games, I like those. It's less strenuous.
Yeah, Frank's big. My other son, Frank, the 11-year-old, he's really into football.
Awesome. And then is Smitty his actual name, or is that a nickname for Smithers?
Yeah, his real name is Smithers, but we just call him Smitty for short. He's named after his great grandfather.
Oh wow, that's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, and then my last couple of questions. Do you have any prior criminal history besides this charge that's bringing you in today?
I have prior driving while intoxicated.
Okay.
Back in 2012 when I was working with NASA in the military, but I didn't have any jail time, and I only had to do some counseling.
Okay, so you passed the counseling, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and that's all the charges.
That is the previous charge, yes.
Perfect. Okay, so that's all I have. And again, this is all confidential, so you don't have to worry about any of this coming out in any future litigation or anything like that. Let's get into what is bringing you in today. So what happened?
I was in a car crash on February 29th, so about a month and a half ago, and it went downhill from there. I took I had to take a sobriety test. The police were called. I didn't pass that, and then I took did the blow test. I came back very bad, and then when they arrested me, I was charged and booked for my second DUI, reckless endangerment, and I also had some weed on me, so some possession of marijuana. But I paid my bond, and now I'm out on bond, but there's conditions for that. I'm not allowed to drink. That's not easy for a man of man of my status and stature,
Mm-hmm.
I have to take clients to dinner, and in my line of work, it's really awkward to order a club soda or a
Yeah, yeah.
Pepsi.
I can understand, especially in the legal field. Also, is the same way.
So yeah, that's it's not easy to do this, but
Mm-hmm.
that is currently what we're doing. I blew kid you not, a 0.28 on the BAC scale, so
Mm-hmm.
pretty high, and yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Do you remember what you blew in your first charge in 2012?
I do not.
Okay, so
It was around a 0.16.
mm-hmm. Okay, and so that those are all the charges? Is it? So let me get this. So it's the second DWI,
Mm-hmm.
reckless endangerment, and then possession of marijuana.
Yes.
Okay, and how much marijuana did you have on you exactly? Do you remember? Do you know? Or
It was only like a gram. It was like nothing too much.
okay, and so you're on bond right now. You're out on bond. Is there any other restrictions on you besides the not drinking? Can you still drive to work? Do you still have a license?
No, I cannot leave the state.
Okay.
And my license has been at least temporarily suspended, and likely will be suspended.
Okay. License is suspended. Do you know when your first hearing is? If not, I can.
We haven't got that set.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take care of that when the time comes. So your license is currently suspended. Are you? I guess, are you worried at all about work, since I know you travel a lot?
Yeah. So if I'm not able to travel out of the state, I'll end up losing my job. And if I can't drive my car, I'll end up losing my job. So this is not a good time. And I'm earning about $150,000 a year. My wife is a personal trainer. She only earns about $30,000 a year. So without my income, which also provides health insurance, we're gonna be it's pretty screwed. I screwed up.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I mean, we all make mistakes. You know, I wouldn't let this stress you out too bad. I know it's a stressful situation. So you can't drive the car. So how do you get around now? Are you working now, or are you taking a leave of time, or?
I'm currently taking a leave of time. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Onto my work and get this figured out as soon as possible. But there's not any sure deadline. But obviously, those 3 or 4 months, there's a good chance that I'm going to lose this.
And what happened to the car? So you said it was a car crash. Is it impounded still, or do you guys have it, or is it totaled?
It was damaged, but not in a terrible way. It was I hit a parked car. I was the only person involved in the accident. And I got a little banged up, but it wasn't too bad. Just the car was not totaled or anything. It's still in good decent condition. Not that many miles on it.
Okay. Do you know how fast you were driving when you hit the parked car?
I'm gotta assume at least 40 miles per hour.
Okay.
And the car, I don't know. The car isn't in great shape. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to hide facts. The car, I think we'll be able to get it fixed, but I might have lied. It's not in great shape, sir. So.
That's okay. I just want to remind you, all this information is confidential. So the more you can tell me and be upfront about it, the easier it makes for both of us. I think it helps a lot with any future litigation. And I know I've heard a lot of stories where lawyers go in with a client thinking that their case is open and shut because of the facts that the client told them, and then things come to light where it's not that's not the case. So again, everything's confidential, so you can tell me anything.
I don't even remember drinking that much that night. My wife and I have talked about this, but in the police report, he makes a lot of allegations or wrote in it a lot of things that went bad. And my BAC was 0.28, but I do not remember drinking that much. So
where were you coming from?
I was coming from a cocktail dinner with a client.
Okay. Do you think is there any foul play? Were you drugged, do you think, or anything like that?
I don't assume so. All my relations with the police in the area have been pleasant, and I don't assume that is what happened, but you never know. Since David Clark's been off the force, it's been a lot better around here.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so the police brought you in. Did you take a blood test at all, or just the blood test?
The hospital took a blood test.
Hospital took a blood test. Okay, and do you have the results of that on you?
Yeah, that is the 0.28.
That's 0.28. Okay, so the 0.28 came from the blood test and not the blood test.
Yeah. So okay. So the hospital took my blood test after I got released from the hospital. The police arrested me and charged me with these crimes.
Okay.
So the police first took me to the hospital to make sure I was okay because I was in a car crash.
Yeah, I can imagine. So are you any injuries suffered from that, or are you okay?
Just a banged up. I think I got a concussion. I wasn't diagnosed. No, it wasn't. I wasn't that hurt, but it wasn't pleasant. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. And then, so you said you hit a parked car. So nobody was in the car, I'm assuming. And has the car owner reached out to you?
Huh?
Sorry. So nobody was in the car, right? In the parked car? Was anybody in your car?
No, just me.
Okay. And has the car owner reached out to you? Is there any insurance problems going on with the owner of that car?
All that's been handled via the insurance agencies.
Okay. So there's no pending insurance?
No, the police were called by a clerk at Walgreens, and they heard the crash and called them, is from my knowledge.
Okay.
There weren't any other witnesses that I saw or have been reported. And the owner of the car that I hit, I haven't been in contact with. I'm assuming that the insurance companies have handled that.
Okay. So the clerk heard it. Did he actually see it?
No, he did not see it.
Okay. And was there any footage that the police looked at, like security cameras, parking lot cameras?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So far we only have you're the only person that saw this, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Okay. Please. And did you have any alcohol in the car with you?
I did not.
Okay.
I did. So I did have a pipe in the trunk, and that's where they got the weed charge. But I never gave them permission to search my car.
Interesting. Okay.
And from my knowledge, they didn't acquire a warrant in that time.
Really? So they searched your car without warrant, or without? Well, they searched your trunk without that. I think that's the big problem.
Yeah. And I recall never allowing them the permission to do so.
Okay. No permission. Do you remember all the events of that night? Were you still intoxicated? Because you might have given consent and then forgot about it the next day you blew a 0.28. So I mean, it's a lot. So it could affect your memory a little bit.
I will. Yeah. I mean, realistically, I can say I remember everything, but I probably don't. I hit my head in the accident, like I said, so I had a concussion, and I don't remember the whole night. But I do not recall giving them permission to search my car. And from my experience and my life experiences, I don't think I would ever give law enforcement consent to search my house or my car without a warrant, just because I've taken classes before about it. You should never let cops overstep their boundaries, so I do not assume. I would heavily assume that I did not give them consent.
Okay. So you don't think you don't think the cops gave you consent? You gave the cops consent?
No.
Do you remember what any of the officers said to you? Did they say anything? I don't know. Demeaning, or maybe they were aggressive in any way?
No, they seem pretty friendly from my memory. So here's the report. I'll send you a copy after, but they opened my door after the crash. They asked me to get out. I wasn't hurt. The airbags were deployed, and the impact was pretty hard. I did have my seatbelt on though, which is thing.
Yeah.
I sat down on the curb. They asked me to recite the alphabet. Apparently, I did it accurately, but they said that I got to N and then stopped after N. I don't recall that. The police officer asked me to put my arms out and touch my nose. I did touch my face, but I didn't get the nose. And then they asked me to walk a straight line, which I've always thought is a bad strategy, because obviously you're shook up at this, and that I couldn't do it. And so I also have a bad knee, so it's not the best balance either. And
yeah, well, that's good to know.
And I mean, I can't defend the .28, obviously, but I do think that this was, it was not an easy sobriety test to pass in any circumstances, especially after a car crash.
Yeah, I could imagine. That's what is interesting to me. After colliding with a car at 40 miles an hour, and they still make you do the alcohol or the sobriety test. I feel like they should have maybe just took you to the hospital immediately instead of making you do that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And do you have any of the hospital records too, or is that included in the police report?
I do have the hospital records.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I mean, it looks like there's a lot of charges. I know it's scary. One of the ones I want to talk about is the reckless endangerment. Do you feel like, were you told anything about that? Were you surprised to see that you were charged for that if in a single car accident?
So from my understanding, I think that was just tacked on. I don't understand why that was tacked on. There is as far as I know, there's no scientific proof that I was going 40 miles per hour that they have in their possession. I think that was tacked on because I got in a car crash while also intoxicated. And if that's just another thing that they throw on because of getting in an accident when being drunk, I'd understand it. But they didn't say anything special about that.
Okay. And do you have anything else in the car that could be used against you in this case? I know you had weed and a pipe. Do you have any weapons or any other drugs in there?
My car is pretty much spotless. The trunk just had the pipe and the weed.
Okay. Sounds good. While I try to process this information, do you have any questions for me at all about any of this?
Yeah. How long do you think this case will take? Is there a chance that we're able to put like a stop on it and be able to give me like at least an occupational driver's license?
Yeah. So I shouldn't make estimates just because it could affect, or it could give you lofty expectations that I don't want to get your hopes up. But I think since you have two DUIs, it makes it a little more tougher. I think, in my opinion, any court case takes time. It takes. We could get this resolved as soon as a month if they're willing to offer this down or plead down, or it could take several months if you want to take this litigation, take the trial. It just depends. It depends on a lot of factors. I think for occupational license, usually I would assume they would let you get one, especially if your work relies on it. So I wouldn't worry too much about losing your job or losing any income from that. With the occupational license, it does require a breathalyzer to start the car. I know it could do the key ignition lock. I know it requires a certain insurance coverage too. So it could be a little more pricier to get the occupational license.
I'm sure it's more pricey, but it would not. It doesn't offset the loss of income.
Yeah, exactly.
And during this time, I've been able to have Zoom meetings with clients like we're doing here because bars are closed. So it's actually been the pandemic is a blessing in disguise for my work. That I wasn't in the situation, but it's been not as terrible as it could have been. So what would you say the next step is with this case?
Yeah, so for the next step, I would put this. What I typically do, instead of shooting from the hip to sort of say, where a client comes in, I just give off the top of my head just advice immediately. I think it's better for me better for the client also to get all the facts and all of the potential things that could happen down. I try to do it in a letter form, and I can get you a letter. I'll send it out by the next week with all this information and our possible avenues. But for right now, I think the next step, I'm gonna get the police report. I'm gonna get the hospital records. I'm gonna try to figure out. I'll also schedule a hearing for all this. So I think that's it. But I for you, I think the next step is just to follow the court orders. I wouldn't drink. I wouldn't try to drink. I would. I know it's tough. Especially from being from Wisconsin. I know it's in your DNA. It's in mine too, as a transplant Wisconsin. So I mean, I can understand. I wouldn't risk it. If all it takes is a couple extra drinks and you're wasted, and all of a sudden you're get hungry and you want to go get McDonald's or something, and you think you're fine, and you get arrested again. It's that quick. It can happen. So my advice would be just to follow the court orders. Don't drive. If you have to, make your wife drive, or make Smitty drive. I know he's 17, so he has a license. So I think that would be the next step. And you let me handle all the legal stuff, and of course I'll keep you informed on everything.
Can I give you a recommendation of what I would prefer? I'll take whatever fine there is, and I don't mind the fine. I know it can get pricey, but I would take whatever fine it is. I just would heavily prefer not to have a felony record if possible, and no jail. Those two things are impactful. I mean, if it's a week in jail, I'd hate it, but it'd be doable. But as long as I do not want the felony record, a lengthy sentence, and I'll pay whatever fine. And that was gonna be my next follow up is what you wanted out of this. I could imagine you don't want a felony record. I think that would affect your work a lot and your potential further employment. But okay, so any fine would be okay with you. You just want to avoid jail time. Yeah, I mean, up to an extent. I don't know what the max fine is for I mean, because we're talking felonies, it's obviously more than with the gross misdemeanors, with the reckless drive, but endangerment charge, but and possession of marijuana. But I think that I would really don't want to be a felon, Mr. Easter, and I don't think I'm good for jail. So
I can understand. Yeah, I don't think I am either. I don't think a lot of us are.
Yeah.
So any fine about jail time, and I totally understand. I think that's the last thing you would want to do, especially for your family, is to be in jail.
Yes.
And there's no guarantees that any of this could happen. I know this is what you want, and this is what I'll try to push for. But again, there's no guarantees in the court system. They can do anything they want within the bounds of the law. My personal opinion, I think. The second DUI is tough, but the possession of weed is kind of a flimsy case. I think if they, especially if they search your car without your consent, I know they're probably looking for probable cause, but even then, I don't think they can actually enter your car or open the trunk. So if you didn't give consent, then I think that could be a flimsy case for the prosecution. In that case, they could knock that off. It's in favor of fine if we're paying a certain fine, and then they could take that off, and then instead of having the DUI and the reckless endangerment, again, the DUI is probably the most severe charge right now. I think the reckless endangerment would I think also be swallowed up in that. So I want to make sure I get all of the facts and I have time to process all this instead of giving you just information off the top of my head. But I think right now, I consider the circumstances. I think you're in a good place. I feel like with my expertise and what I can do, what I can bring to the table, the information you gave to me, the DUI could potentially be a lofty fine, but I think you would avoid jail time. And just a follow-up question to that: would you be open to doing counseling again?
I would do counseling again. I would hope to. No, I don't want to do no rehab or anything like that, but I would do counseling again. Yes.
Okay. So what court systems? They look like they look well on people who do voluntary counseling. So what I would have you do is to voluntarily go to alcohol testing center or one of those drug and alcohol courses. take the intake, and then take the day class or how long they have it. That usually helps. It usually helps courts look favorably upon you. I would also recommend a DUI victims panel, which I can give you more information on. Something to help show that, hey, this was a one-time mistake. I know I have a DUI in 2012, but that was 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a slip up by me. Something like that. I would think would be really beneficial. But I'm glad to hear that you're open to counseling again. But this could change. It just depends on what the courts think. That they could have court ordered rehab. Who knows? But I would think that doing counseling and doing a DUI victims panel would be very beneficial. Before we start getting into any plea agreements or any litigation. Speaking of litigation, would you be open to litigating this case in front of a jury?
I would, but I don't feel like I got a very in the eyes of a jury. I don't know how it would go. I'd prefer to probably settle, and
okay.
I feel like that's our you're the legal expert, but I feel like it would be better to get this done quicker than stretch it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think litigation would just be the last means of.
Yeah, so if they aren't offering me, if they're not offering me anything, and they're saying 3 months in jail, felony, and they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would prefer to not.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think litigation should be used sparingly, especially in a situation like this, and especially the fees too. I know, with the fine, the pending fine that's most likely come out of this, and the legal fees for me, it'll be tough. So speaking of legal fees, I'm $145 an hour, as you know before you came in. We try to offer the lowest amount possible for our clients, but again, that could change with any if we go to litigation, it could be more, filing briefs. The law clerk could charge too. We try to use a team system at our firm. So for me, I'll be in charge of your case, but I could offer to go to another attorney in the firm or the law clerk or the legal assistants, anybody to try to help better this case.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be in the fee agreement. I know I should get that to you immediately. I'll get it to you soon. So yeah, I think we covered a lot of the bases. Is there any more questions that you have for me?
I think I'm ready to do it. I'm committed to getting this done. I think you're the guy to do it. All the money stuff works. I have enough saved up to be able to get through this. It might stretch me a little, but the money's not the issue. The issue is the impending loss of income. So that's the hope that we're able to handle this. So I'm good with that.
Fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, just once again, all the information you share with me, it's all confidential.
Yeah.
Everything that we talked about is protected by attorney-client privilege. Anything that I talk to another attorney about, or my law clerk or my paralegals, that's all protected. So you don't have to worry about that getting out. And just to summarize, I think the best course of action right now is for me to get a hearing date set up for us. You just to follow the court orders. I'm going to try. I'll send you some information on getting occupational license. I know it's a pretty quick process depending on how fast you get through it. But again, with that comes certain responsibilities also. I think there might be a curfew involved if that's an issue. The ignition lock is one thing. I think there's insurance also on that. So if the cost isn't an issue for you, I think that's probably the best course of action to go with. And then on my side,
I agree. It should be handled. Should be able to be handled. If not, I'll let you know if there's anything that is out of budget.
Yeah, please do. And then again, I'm just gonna get the records from the hospital, from the police report. And then for right now, I wouldn't worry too much. I think especially in this period where you don't have to travel, you don't have to drive. It's beneficial to you, so I wouldn't try to push that. And with everything being online now, like with me and you, I wouldn't I wouldn't stress about not being able to work. I think one of the biggest factors is getting this as quickly as done as possible. And I know that's what you want also. So I'm gonna try to do that as best I can. I should have asked this before, but does your work know about this?
Yeah, they're aware.
Okay, and they haven't punished you or anything like that, or they haven't said anything?
They just want me to get it handled as quick as possible.
Okay, yeah. So exactly. So I think this is what
long they're gonna want. But yeah, the whole pandemic has benefited me more than hurt me, because all things.
Yeah. Exactly. So I wouldn't worry too much. Well, I think I got all the information I need. Again, my policy. I know I gave you some legal avenues, but what I like to do is I like to get a cover letter sent to you as fast as possible with just a summary of everything that you could hold on to, so you know where we're at. Again, I do a really good job at keeping my clients informed. So you can expect to have constant contact with me. I'm available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. You have my phone number for the firm. I have my email also. So I mean, if anything else comes up, please let me know as quick as possible.
Will do.
I think we covered a lot of the bases, and if there's any more information that I need, I'll be sure to reach out to you. So I think what you got to watch out for is just the letter that's coming to you, and make sure that you follow the court orders.
Will do. Thank you, Mr. Easter.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming in, Mr. Recchi. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Bye.